Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Central Falls City Council. We're acting as the licensing board tonight, also known as the liquor board. With that, I roll call.
Councilman Ferry,
Present.
Councilman Figueroa,
Present.
Councilwoman Fonseca,
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez, Councilwoman Racker,
Present.
Councilwoman Rustino Siegel, Councilman Boisvert.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I have a letter here from Chairperson Tia Siegel. She's out of town, so she apologizes. She cannot make tonight's meeting. Therefore, I am chairing the meeting. With that, first item.
First item is a hearing consideration of a F1 license. It is a beer and wine, one-day only license for
Okay.
Holy Spirit, and it's part of their, it's an annual event. It is the 30-week club dinner dance to be held on September 26th. You will also see this event in the council meeting for their permit license, but this is for the liquor license
Right, one day.
only, one day.
Is anyone here representing the Holy Spirit Parish?
It might appear on the 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
If they didn't know it was coming.
Well, I can vouch for them. This has been a number of years. They run it every year, and I don't think we've ever had a problem, Chief, with the beer and wine at Holy Spirit.
I will have no objection.
Bob?
No, we've, like I said, they've been doing it for many, many years. We've never, ever had a problem.
Yeah. It's understood it's just a one-day
Yes, it's
license.
one day.
Beer and wine. With that, looking for a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Councilman Bluder,
Second.
second by Hugo and Colleen. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Nays? Seeing none, hearing none. Ayes have it, so approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then you have a hearing for a new license. This is an advertised hearing, and this is for two fee-limited liquor licenses. You have the application in front of you, and I apologize for delaying getting those to you. I didn't understand they were not on your packet fully. It was advertised beginning December 3rd. These licenses came out of the revisions that were made to the liquor licenses ordinances back in 2012 and summer 2014. So the application went out December 3rd. It was advertised until December 24th. And the application in front of you was submitted by two businesses in full and in time. The work of the council today is to review it, and should it be approved, then those businesses will be able to continue forward, getting their certificate of occupancy if they do not have one for their business, and then collect the license. And I can answer any questions you, letters, tribute letters were sent as well. Part of the process is that the business had to submit, they have to select the list of letters, so those letters were sent out on March 3rd, and there was an advertisement in the Packet Times on March 9th and March 16th.
And this is a B limited,
Be limited.
and there is a B limited available, correct?
There are actually three.
Three
So
available.
there are three, so these two
We have
were
two
the two that
before
were
us.
submitted, correct. And we do have representatives of both businesses here to speak.
Is it Ariel?
Yeah.
Ariel?
Can I go
Is that
first?
come?
Can I go first?
Sure, absolutely.
He's nervous.
Okay,
Well, no, you want
maybe you come up here with,
No,
come on up.
That's okay. Don't be nervous.
He can come up with you,
No, that's okay.
not a problem.
We're friends.
This is Mr. Alarcon for Montecristo and Ms. Cano for Vieras. And
Hi.
tell us your name for the record, please.
Sandra Cano.
My name is Ariel Alarcon.
Sierra? Sandra? Okay, so it's 804 Broad Street?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that in a little plaza or,
No,
okay, whereabouts on Broad Street? Is it more towards
It's-
Pawtucket or?
no, basically in front of Family Dollar.
Oh.
This is where La Casona is.
Oh, okay, okay, yep, yeah, I think that's what you had mentioned. Anyone, any council members have questions of the applicant?
Why was the liquor license
Matt,
discontinued?
okay, please.
I see that you guys had a previous liquor license. Why was that, I guess, closed down or the liquor license? No,
This business has never had a liquor license.
liquor license showing the location has been.
Oh, the location, so the
Okay.
previous restaurant that
Okay,
was
sorry
there,
about that.
there was a liquor license at that location, and it was held by La Casona. And when they moved, locations, they took their license with it, so there hasn't, Mr. Alacon has never had a liquor license with the city.
What's your hours gonna be?
My hours are 8 to 10.
Yeah, that's nice, yeah.
Yeah. If I could open to 11,
Like he would like to ask for an extension. The reason why the hours before were approved until 10 o'clock was because it was only a restaurant and that's the parameters that you have for the operations of the business only until 10 o'clock. So he's asking to see if you can extend it in order for him to be able to serve their customer best. And it's a complimentary of his menu, like we've been discussing this. So. You would like to see if you could approve the extension of the hours until 11?
11.
Is there a limited hours that could be limited?
Certainly. It's not limited to 11. I believe state law does not speak to be limited, but it would not be before 11. I mean, it would not be before midnight.
So I guess I asked the city clerk, that's just a matter of them filling out a new application, or, I mean, we can approve it pending, get that corrected.
It's your discretion to, if you'd like to approve
Amend
his
it
request.
to
Um,
11 PM.
His current license is a restaurant license, and it's until, his hours are, as approved, are until 10 PM, which was his original application when he opened the business last year. If you choose to revise it, approve the revision of the hours, it's your discretion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we have a motion?
I motion to approve the license for Restaurant Monte Cristo and then the hours to 11 PM instead of 10 PM.
We have a motion by
Second.
Colleen, we have a second by Ian.
Yes.
Everyone understand, we're gonna approve it, and we're going to amend to reflect 11 PM.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, voice vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, nays, hearing none, seeing none. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
And see Sonia, I guess, tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then you have, yes. Ms. Cano can speak on behalf of her own application. You also have in front of you. Larry's Grill at 1252 Broad Street.
Hello again.
Good afternoon.
So same thing, it's a be limited. Correct. Yeah. Be limited, and
Correct.
there's one available,
Correct,
and it's been advertised.
yes.
Any questions of Sandra, the applicant?
So the hours are 10, I mean 11 to 10,
Okay.
right?
So I would actually ask to see if my hours would be extended in order for me to be able to serve until later. And the question is, would it be possible to open until 12 or only until 11?
Be limited, Matt? Is it midnight?
1 a.m.
Oh, it's 1, okay, yeah, you did, just got your answer.
So
This is in the plaza across from the bakery.
that's exactly right.
And you take up the whole plaza there, or? is it
No,
just
it's 3 units within the plaza. So it's unit C on the right-hand side.
Far right, and you're facing Dexter Street.
So would I be able to ask until 1 PM just to be competitive?
1 a.m.
What do you?
To open until 1? My business is more like a dinner, no, honestly, my business always run most likely with the dinner basis. And my customers have been asking for beer and wine, and we actually televise soccer games, and that is really when we draw the people, and it would be beneficial to the business, but that's why I'm trying to see what would you think and whether or not it's possible. And of course, all my employees are certified, tip certified, and will follow the law and the ordinance. I'll be responsible for it.
I don't think we have any reason to deny that. Legally, you can open till 1 PM. You're not gonna get rowdy after 12, are you?
No.
Only
It's not
after
like-
the winning soccer?
You
You
know-
have to win it.
Do you know where to find me? No. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Make
So,
a-
As
do
amended.
you want to extend it
Okay.
to 1 a.m.?
To 1, yes, that would be great.
We have a motion by Ann, second by Kenny. Your motion gonna reflect the hours?
Yeah, that's why I double checked it, that she wants to 1.
So she made the motion, I'll second.
You wanna read that to the clerk so we get it, the motion? Or Madam
It's a
Clerk?
motion to approve the application that is grill and to allow extended hours to 1 a.m. Close at 1 a.m.
Correct.
And it was made by Councilwoman Rector, seconded by
Councilman.
Councilman Hood.
Any further discussion? Voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Nays? Seeing none, hearing none. Best of luck.
Hi, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Now I have a hearing, consideration, and possible action regarding the license of Ms. Almeida, Maria Almeida, doing business as Benjamin III. This is, think about, Ms. Almeida's here. Benjamin's was in front of you last year, I think, November, and was given 90 days to then come back into you again to continuation of our positions of high incidents or calls of alarms. And Colonel Mendoza here to speak on that issue as well, and so is Ms. Almeida.
Actually, Mrs. Almeida is my mother.
Oh,
but
oh, sorry.
I'm on hers.
Well, I guess before we bring the Colonel up, you have corrected the problem?
Majority of the problem was alarm, the
Right.
false alarms, or some
Right.
wiring issues, but since then, we haven't, maybe had 1 or 2 alarm calls.
Can you just tell me your name for the record, please?
Albertina Matos, M-A-T-O-S.
Yep. Thank you.
Colonel, you want? Thank you.
Down.
Yeah, you can stay over here.
Colonel Mendoza, Police Chief of Center Falls. We checked to verify that. We went through the past 3 months dispatch calls, and there hasn't been any incidents of any relevance there. They seem to have corrected the alarm problem, and any other difficulties they've had to seem to rectify themselves, since there wasn't any additional things they put in place to rectify them. But we don't have any calls for service again that would warrant any further action on our part, or any recommendations by the police department.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chief,
Yep.
Chief,
Chief.
hold on a second. You weren't here for this, so can you give us a brief summary of what was the problem?
Unfortunately, I don't have the documentation here with me that I testified before the council last time I was here. There was a litany of problems. There was people hanging out front. There were a couple cases where there were fights, tumultuous behavior. But the main problem was alarms, repeated calls for service for alarms. It seemed to be an issue actually across the whole city with many different laws. And the main 2 were here before you tonight. But it seems that, like I said, the issues have rectified themselves.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else? Any further questions of the owner? I guess it's just a matter of, whatever word you want to use, reinstated or whatever, and get back in, good graces and keep up the good work.
You hadn't been in front of the board in many, many years, so it's just,
And not a problem, it's been corrected. And anyone else, any further questions? And best of luck going forward, and thank you.
thank you for everything.
Next item.
Next item is for our Hackers Club continuation as well. Mr. Vicente, tell us your name, please.
Jose Vicente.
I'm sorry, and your address. Yeah.
435 Pine Street. Center
Thank you.
Falls.
Thank you.
I guess this is also, I'm going to call the chief up again to see if the problem's been corrected or making some inroads into the problem.
It's the same situation here at Hackers. We had problems with fights, people hanging out in front of the establishment, crowds, but mainly it was the alarm calls for service, which was daunting upon us, was several different establishments having problems with alarms. But again, it seems like Mr. Vicente is remedied the situation. I think he has a new alarm company, and the other issues have also seemed to have subsided as well. Again, we have no further recommendations to the council.
And we, is the detail finished now, or they still require the detail on weekends?
Neither location required the detail.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's, I guess the same thing, they would just keep up the good work, and thank you for alleviating the problem that you did have. Anyone else? Yeah, Colleen? Ken, sir, are you on the sheet?
Yes, sir, Vicente.
I just want to know, what did you do to make things better?
Maintain some respect to give my customer respect, to them to give it to me. Just keep it going.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item is a hearing consideration on the petition of Mr. Carlos Pleiades on behalf of Mr. Frank Pleiades. It's DBA, it's a restaurant for lease on 500 Dexter Street.
Good evening.
Good evening, members of the council.
Before you guys, I just want a little background from our city clerk, what has transpired in the last 60 to 90 days. If you please.
Sure. You can-
Or Matt, either or.
The applicant was looking to transfer the license to a new owner and came before this council during the renewal period and stated that he was renovating, that the new owner was renovating the facility, and that they wanted the current license holder to have the renewal approved, and then he would come back and transfer from the old owner to the new owner. However, because the facility was under renovations, there's code and fire issues attached to that. And so this council asked code and fire to sort of report back when the renovations were complete. At which time, the council would renew the license of the old owner, who would then formally seek to transfer it to the new owner. At the last meeting in December 8th, the council granted the license subject to those conditions. And the council was repeatedly assured that within a matter of weeks, all of the work would be done. And is it Mr. Perez?
Mr. Lopez.
Lopez was going to come in with he's the new applicant, would come in with the current license holder and would pick up the license within that 30-day period. The 30-day period came and went. city did not hear from the current license holder or the new and proposed license holder. And so per city ordinance, as was instructed at the December 8th hearing, the license becomes null and void. My understanding since then, the owner of the property, who lives in New York, came to see me and a couple other city officials, stating that he was looking to evict the proposed new club owner because they were locked out of the building by the new applicant, and they were concerned that work was going on. In addition, code sent inspectors there upon complaints, and the inspectors were not allowed in. And so what I believe we're doing here today is that the former license holder and the proposed license holder have petitioned the council to ask for an extension of time so that you extend the January 8th deadline to some period of time into the future so that they can get their affairs in order. Is that accurate?
No, it's not.
Please
I'm
state your
sorry.
name and address for the record.
My name is Hector Lopez. My address is 605 Hodges Street in Taunton, Massachusetts. When I came here the last time, they told me they're gonna put up the license was approved, it's gonna be in the back burner, and I'm supposed to come up in 30 days. I come up to the meeting in January 6th, I think it was, and they told me I wasn't in the agenda. My wife comes back to the store crying, saying that we lost the license. I come back here, Mrs. Sonia Grace told me the same thing, they come and see it the next day. My wife come back here and talk to Mrs. Tia, and I think she talked to Hugo too. And the reason that we don't do the renovations in time is I got here the certificate, the occupation sign. There was some work to be done with the landlord, and the landlord, we don't take responsibility for a lot of stuff in this place. I got pictures after and before. When my wife talked to Tia said, no problem, don't worry about it, finish when the work and finish everything. I did. I take a permit to do the stuff. The building inspector was there many times. His name is Todd. I personally met him. Mrs. James Martell, the guy from is the plumbing inspector, came in a few times and told me, Hector, you have to change this and this and this and this. The landlord is a person that's very difficult to work because he don't want to spend money. I already paid 2 months of rent. My premier agreement with him was that we don't gotta pay rent to the place it was done to be fixed. I can show you pictures of I can show you pictures of the place to the board, the house, the conditions that I found this place. When I talked to his brother, this is the original owner of the license, he told me they only have to be clean and painted. And I can show you this.
I don't know if that'll be necessary.
It is
I
necessary.
mean, we believed you that work had to be done.
You know, Hugo was there when I was fixing the place too. He came to the place. This was the kitchen. Okay, excuse me, I'm just gonna walk to you too, so you can see something. This was the kitchen of the place when I come in. This was the kitchen. All the connections were run. I have to buy all new materials to do the connections. This is the kitchen where they're supposed to wash the chin. There was no trap, no grease trap. This was the condition of the cables behind the kitchen. You can go through, we wash everything. This was the wall. The wall was a third door cooler. They used to have here blocking the kitchen so people can come into the kitchen. Electric wires everywhere. This was on top of the hood. You know what I mean? My question is this, the landlord, this is how they used to turn the lights in and out. Okay? That was the main switch to turn lights in and out. So if I have to put the thing to code, I told this guy, I said, listen, it's a lot of work over here to do, you have to give me a break. This was holes in the walls everywhere. The floors, the fire department, Mr. Mark Renka, come up to the place and told me they threw down two things that were a fire hazard. One was the main bar. I got a big picture over here.
Mr. Lopez?
Can I interject before you, first of all, the hang-up here is two things. One is, where do you stand with the owner of the building?
If I could address that?
Okay, that's one issue.
Yeah.
And the other issue, where have you been for 60 to 90 days? If you would have came before us before then and asked for an extension,
I
because
did.
you were still doing the work,
I did came 3 times and she told me I got no right to do it because the license was in my name.
we gave you 30 days. In fact, the video was reviewed
Mm-hmm.
of that meeting.
Yeah, so it was a misunderstanding.
And I specifically said, I sat right there,
Yeah, I remember you saying
I
that.
said the onus, you know what that means, is on you
Okay.
if we grant this for 30 days. And you didn't do your part. The 30 days has expired.
I understand what you're saying, but the problem is.
And that's the hangup. If you were to get back to us and look for an extension and explain that you had a lot of work to do, et cetera, we probably wouldn't be here tonight.
I understand that.
But now you gotta, I think it's up to Matt, I think we got a bigger problem here with your landlord. I mean, the city clerk said the landlord basically, I don't know if he wants you out of there or not. Do you have anything from the owner of the building?
Can I address that?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
If you
Council,
may, Matt.
please, Thomas M. Brutzays of G. Brutzays Law Group from North Rhode Island. Ms. Grace, if I can
Thank you.
present my card for the record. Basically, I've been practicing law since 1978. I represented Tio Pepe in connection with solely Strictly Limited since I'd say maybe October, November of 2014, solely with drafting a lease and solely with the bill of sale and the purchase and sale agreement from the prior holder of the license until Tio Pepe. I specifically asked them if they wanted me to get involved in the license. They didn't want me to get involved, and I can see that. You know, when you have costs, you think you can do it on your own. You think you can do it on your own. If in fact I had been representing them, more than likely we wouldn't be here today. Because again, Councilman Ferry, you made that clear. I know what the onus is, and I would make sure that I was here. And I would stress them. I mean, I do this all the time for clients and deadlines in my office and getting them going. And in this particular case, to address the issue on the landlord, I personally had a meeting with the landlord and his attorney, Sam Miller, on Friday, just this past Friday. And we had an extensive meeting at the premises. First of all, I looked at the premises, and the premises looks beautiful. I never saw the premises before last Friday, but I did see the pictures, and it's basically like night and day. So the renovations there were very, very extensive, probably more expensive than they thought. Again, and that would have been good cause for you to extend it because of the fact they maybe bit off more than they could chew. I basically, based upon the meeting, we went through certain lease issues. Again, I'm representing that as an officer of the court with the owner of the building. He has a professional corporation, I'm sorry, an LLC, Rhode Island LLC, Corral Corporation. His attorney, Mr. Miller. We went through certain issues that had to be done. I have a draft of the lease here, which was just revised last Friday. I sent a letter, probably a 2-3 page letter to Mr. Miller today, going over all of the issues that, in fact, we were talking about to get this lease signed. It's my strong wish to get this lease signed by April 1st. One of the problems that we have, quite frankly, is without the lease, I can't get insurance for them, and I stressed that insurance had to be gotten. So as far as what the owner of the property did or told Mr. Jerzak, I have no doubt that he did that whatsoever. But based upon our meeting of this past Friday, which went on for over an hour, I did my best to tell him, you know, this, you need these tenants. They fixed up your building here. This is a going enterprises. Mr. and Mrs. Lopez have a business in Pawtucket. Dexter Lick is, not too far from here. And they're hardworking people. And I think they're going to make a go of this. I think it's really going to be an asset to the city. And again, on behalf of Tio Pepe, on behalf of Mr. Lopez and Mr. Lopez, I sincerely apologize to the council. And I apologize for the time that you had to take to be here today. Unfortunately, that happened. Fortunately, hopefully, it won't happen again my involvement in this thing. They have invested considerable amount of time, considerable amount of money to try to get this thing going. This lease, I spent a lot of time, because to be quite candid with you, it was somewhat complicated, because I did my best to draft the lease as best I could to avoid problems in the future. One of the ways I like to practice law is to see all the possible things that could happen in the future and try to avoid them. So this, I drafted leases for way more higher rents than this, but this lease was somewhat complicated to draft because there were 6 units there, as you probably know, in this property at the 508, 510 left Dexter Street. There's issues with parking, there's issues with use of the dumpster, all kinds of issues that I want to make sure we're taking care of in the lease. Everybody did their due diligence that had to do it. So that's basically where we're at. He's invested a significant amount. I believe if we give us an extension, approve the transfer, I think the city is going to be much better off than what they had there before. Because what they had there before, the prior owner was operating it, I believe from what I heard, the building was foreclosed upon and he lost the business. So you're going to have an active business there.
Question, March 23rd, that's today, correct?
Yes.
Does he currently have a lease?
No. We're close, we're close.
Because we're supposed
I
to
mean,
sign.
how can we, if you don't have a place to hang your hat?
Well, no, he approved, I believe.
Well, we've heard before, I mean, he had 30 days, everything was going to be set, and that was about 90 days
I
ago.
can show you something?
If you don't have a lease, I
No,
don't.
I understand that, but, Mr. Barol signed this
Yeah, that's what
12/4 for the occupation permit. All right, the electricity, he's supposed to take care of the electric problems himself and the plumbing. Look at the plumbing, it
I
was done.
understand that,
electric.
but the key is still the lease. You don't, you have
Well,
nothing to do with the building
Well,
right
the
now.
problem is, the
That's
lease,
like going into a house and do
Listen.
all the work and the guy's not renting it,
But my-
renting it to you.
but my question is this, I'm sorry what I say, but I'm not a dumb person. I don't wanna spend money in a place that is not mine if I don't get an agreement with this guy, but this guy flipping me. I got no problem paying what he want now, but, you know what I mean? He's holding me hostage, that's what he did, the whole situation. I take the building permit. When I took the building permit, I don't have a key at the place for the first, you know when he gave me the key of the permit? The day he signed this, because I gave him a check for $2,000 as a deposit. Then, he come out and put a lock from the outside, I said, what are you doing? Oh, you know, you're making too much noise. I said, how are we gonna fix the place if I can get in there? You know what I mean? I try to do the best I can. To be honest to you, I lost so much money now, I don't, you know what I mean? I gotta lose my own business because I invested in something that this
But
guy.
again, we told you this before, there was a lot of loose ends,
Mm-hmm.
and we approved it, and we gave it 30 days to correct all these loose ends,
Well, I
and
came
it
here
hadn't been
before.
done.
Well, excuse me.
If you would've came before and got an extension,
I think-
we granted extension to people that have put a lot of money into a place and is doing a lot of work, but they had a lease agreement. You don't have that. To me,
Mr. Lopez, I'm
you
sorry.
know, that's okay, go ahead.
The issue seems to be more like a legal issue with the owner. And unfortunately, we're at a loss here because we're not really at a position to approve a license if
it's
you
not
don't
leased.
have a lease.
Okay, question for you. If I fix this problem with the lease, the only the guy wants money. I got the money to give it to him, but you know what I mean? The problem is, he is basically holding me hostage. And he was thinking
Business
That's
that,
with him.
between you
Don't do business with him.
and him, that's correct.
what about if I move the license somewhere else? After I'm done. I got the certificate of occupancy signed already, it's done. Everything is done. I fixed everything in that place.
I'll turn it over to legal, thank you, Matt.
Elaine sent an email to the city clerk. Elaine is the director of code enforcement.
Yeah,
She said that since December, when the building permit was issued,
yeah.
you've had no contact with code enforcement. And she was called there on Saturday
Saturday was a problem.
by the fire department.
Mhm.
The electrician, I'm gonna quote her, the electrician was pulling wires in the basement and broke the water valve. The cellar was full of water and the boilers were compromised.
Mhm.
Since December, when the building permit was issued, code enforcement has had no contact with the tenants. As of this date, there has been no certificate of occupancy issued.
The certificate of occupation is right here, signed
That's
for
an
everybody.
application.
Oh, I'm sorry, give me, I
So
don't
a
know.
certificate of occupancy is issued when construction is complete,
The construction is complete, actually, I talked to
and
my,
you contact code enforcement, which will send the building official out or the relevant
Yeah, that-
inspectors.
my contractor called back today. My contractor is Mr. DeMello, he's a
But
licensed
in
contractor.
December, on December 8th, you testified to the council that you were weeks away, you were just about ready to
Yes,
finish.
and I was gonna come into, what my understanding was that I was gonna come in January 7th, January 6th was the thing. And I was gonna come here and explain what the problem was. And when I come in,
It was
Sonia,
January 12th.
no,
You came
I'm sorry.
January 12th,
okay,
which was 4 days. So, the meeting was December 8th, clarify dates, because I think it gets a little confusing. The meeting in which the license renewal, not transfer, the renewal was approved was December 8th. 30 days after that would be January 8th. The next council meeting was January 12th, and now is the time that I saw Mrs. Lopez here. And then I explained to her that she was not on the agenda because there was no liquor meeting, and that she should come see me in my office the next day. She left, and then Mr. Lopez came in, and I repeated that message. It's been past 30 days. Please come see me tomorrow in my office. You are not on the agenda. This is not a liquor board meeting. The next time I saw Mr. Lopez was March 12th.
but the reason that I don't come and see you the next day is because my wife talked to Tia and Hugo and they told me that they, I'm supposed to come in.
Don't work that way. Tia, nothing against Tia or Hugo, but they're just one members of this.
Yeah,
Board.
I understand.
This is the board.
Well, my,
I think your wife was told that. I think she called every member. My response was, I'm only one member of a board.
yeah,
This board decides,
it's everybody. I
not one
understand.
person. So I want to make that clear.
I understand.
I would just like to add that in addition to the certificate of occupancy, which the city does not have a copy of because you don't have one, we don't have any documentation from the Department of Health, taxation, retail sales, copy of menu, crowd control. I mean, your checklist of things you're supposed to submit for a license is very sparse. So, you know, the legal standard is good cause as to why you missed the January 8th deadline. And I think being able to state why you missed the deadline of January 8th, as well as your plan for achieving a certificate of occupancy, all of the other requirements, as well as a lease. I think that would be a minimum case you would need to present to the council.
If I can get that thing, the lease signed this week, it'd be a problem for you guys to grant the license back? That's my
We
problem.
need everything, code to
that's
be
not a
up to date, all the forms, applications. What I would recommend is, meeting with Sonia to figure out exactly what you need first.
I'm going to interject here. I recommend this license is gone. I recommend you reapply. If there's a BV license available, then you come back before the liquor board. I think there's no need to go in any further. You didn't meet the requirements. Personally, when you get everything together, the lease, the whole 9 yards, if there's a BV license available, reapply. That's my feeling. I've been thinking this over for days, and I see no legal standing where we have to grant it to you. And this lease is a big hang-up. Suppose the landlord don't want you there.
It seems fine, nothing to me. I've been meeting with this guy almost every day.
Your lawyer just said there's nothing going to be even happening before April 1st or whatever. And
That's my target.
you just had a problem with water or something?
No, the problem with the water was already fixed.
Well, you don't have to explain to me, but you might have to explain that to the owner of the building.
It's already done. I already talked to him. I talked to him
Well,
yesterday.
whatever, that's, it. Anyone can jump in here. My recommendation, this license is going by you. If you want to reapply, if there's another BV available, reapply. That's my feeling. And
When the council increased fee limited from 5 to 8, the council also reduced the number of BVs from 25 to 22. So if the council does not extend the deadline, their BV license is extinguished and there are none available.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to know, why would you invest a lot of money in a building without a lease? I don't
Because
understand.
we got a mutual agreement with this guy. Basically, this guy, I'm sorry what I'm gonna say, this guy, he screwed me, basically, exactly. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
I wouldn't invest a dime unless I had a lease.
But we supposed to get a lease done, he just keeps dragging it every time, it's just holding me
While he
hostage.
was dragging his feet, you were spending your money. That doesn't make any sense.
You know, I make that place beautiful. That place was a dump.
I feel bad for you, but you were wrong to do that without a lease.